The train platform is quiet this late. You stand under the fluorescent lights with your bag at your feet, checking the board again. Delayed. No new time listed. Just delayed. And something about this moment, this suspension between where you were and where you promised yourself you would be, brings up a feeling you have been carrying for weeks. It is not dramatic. It is quieter than that. It is the small, stubborn ache of knowing you have not kept faith with yourself. Not in one large betrayal, but in a dozen small ones. The morning routine you said you would protect. The project you said you would finish before bed. The boundary you said you would hold. The train is delayed, but the truth is, you have been delaying yourself. Let's sit with that for a moment. Not to punish it, but to understand it. Because this is the thing we rarely talk about when we speak of discipline. We talk about willpower, about systems, about motivation. But we do not talk enough about the specific loneliness of breaking a promise to yourself. It does not feel like breaking a promise to another person. There is no external accountability, no disappointed face across the table. There is only you, and the quiet knowledge that you said you would do something, and then you did not. And the strangest part is how quickly we forgive ourselves for it. Not in a kind way. In a dismissive way. We say, it does not matter. No one else knows. I will start again tomorrow. And tomorrow we say the same thing. There was a colleague I knew years ago, someone I worked with on a research project. We were not close, but we shared an office for a season, and I watched her navigate something I did not fully understand at the time. She was trying to finish her dissertation while teaching full-time, and every morning she came in with the same intention, write for 1 hour before anything else. And every morning, something interrupted. An email. A student. A meeting moved earlier. A headache. A mood. After a few weeks, I noticed she stopped mentioning the writing. She still came in. She still worked. But there was a flatness to her presence, a kind of tired politeness that had not been there before. One afternoon, she said something I have not forgotten. She said, "I do not think I am angry at the interruptions. I think I am angry at how easily I let them win." That sentence stayed with me because it named something most of us feel but do not say. The anger is not at the world. The world will always offer reasons to delay, to defer, to choose the easier thing. The anger is at how quickly we abandon the small altar of our own intention. And the cost is not productivity. The cost is self-respect. Because self-respect is not built in the grand moments. It is built in the unremarkable ones. In the moment you said you would go to bed at 10, and it is 9:58, and you close the laptop. In the moment you said you would not check your phone first thing, and you leave it in another room. In the moment you said you would write 3 sentences, and you write them badly, but you write them. These are not achievements anyone else will see. But you see them. And slowly, you begin to trust yourself again. There is a reason the old Stoic teachers, particularly Epictetus, returned again and again to the idea of keeping your word. Not as a moral lecture, but as a practical one. He taught his students that integrity is not only about what you say to others. It is about what you say to yourself in the quiet. If you cannot keep a small promise to yourself, how will you keep a large one? If you cannot show up for your own life in the unremarkable hours, how will you show up when it matters? This was not about perfection. Epictetus himself had been a slave, had lived through conditions where control was almost entirely taken from him. He knew what it was to have no power over your circumstances. And maybe that is why he was so insistent on the one place power remains, your response. Your next choice. Your willingness to begin again, not tomorrow, but now. So let's make this smaller. Let's bring it back to the platform. The train is still delayed. You are still standing here. And maybe you are thinking about all the ways you have let yourself down this week. The early start you missed. The conversation you avoided. The boundary you bent. The habit you said you would build, and then quietly let dissolve. It is easy, in this moment, to feel like a failure. To think that discipline is something other people have, people with better systems or stronger wills or fewer obstacles. But that is not what discipline is. Discipline is not the absence of failure. It is the refusal to let failure become your identity. What if the work is not to never break a promise to yourself, but to notice when you have, and to make the next promise smaller and truer? Not, I will wake up at 5 every day. But, I will set my alarm for 5 tomorrow and see what happens. Not, I will never waste time again. But, I will close this tab and sit with the discomfort for 2 minutes. Not, I will become someone I am not. But, I will take one action that aligns with who I said I wanted to be. The train will come or it will not. But you are still here. You still have this moment. And this moment is where discipline actually lives. Here is the part we forget. Self-respect is not earned by being perfect. It is earned by being honest. By looking at the gap between what you said and what you did, and instead of filling that gap with shame or excuses, filling it with a quiet decision. I will try again. Not because I have to prove something to anyone, but because I deserve to live in alignment with my own word. Because the person I make promises to, the person who hears them most clearly, is me. And if I cannot trust my own voice, I will spend my whole life waiting for someone else to give me permission to begin. Let's come back to my colleague. The one who stopped mentioning her writing. Near the end of that semester, something shifted. She did not suddenly become more disciplined. She did not find more time. But she started doing something small. Every morning, before she opened her email, she opened her dissertation file and wrote one sentence. Some days it was a good sentence. Most days it was not. But she wrote it. And she told me later that it was not about the sentence. It was about the fact that she had said she would do it, and then she did. That tiny, unremarkable act of alignment, repeated, became the foundation for everything else. Not because it was impressive. Because it was true. This is what the old wisdom offers us, especially on the nights when we feel delayed, when the future feels uncertain and the past feels full of small betrayals. It offers us a way to stop waiting for conditions to be perfect, and to start building respect in the smallest unit of time we have. This breath. This choice. This one next action that says, I am still here, and I still mean what I say. You do not need to repair everything tonight. You do not need to become someone new. You only need to notice the gap, name it without cruelty, and take one step that closes it. That is discipline. Not the loud kind. The kind that happens in the dark, when no one is watching, when the only witness is you. The thing about keeping promises to yourself is that it changes the way you move through the world. Not all at once. But gradually. You stop needing external validation because you have internal alignment. You stop fearing failure because you know failure is just information, just a place to begin again. You stop performing discipline for others and start practicing it for yourself, in the small hours, in the unremarkable rooms, in the moments no one will ever see. And that quiet, private integrity becomes the ground you stand on. Not perfect. Not impressive. But solid. True. So tonight, as you wait for whatever comes next, consider this. You do not need to fix everything. You do not need to become someone else. You only need to make one small promise to yourself, something so small it feels almost silly, and then keep it. Not because it will change your life. Because it will change your relationship with your own word. And that is where self-respect begins. Not in the grand gestures. In the kept promise. In the quiet choice. In the moment you decide that you are worth showing up for, even when no one else is watching. Let that settle. Let the platform be what it is. Let the delay be what it is. And when the train comes, or when morning comes, or when the next moment asks you to choose the small true thing. The thing you said you would do. Not perfectly. Just honestly. That is enough. That has always been enough. Rest now, knowing that discipline is not a performance. It is a practice. And the practice begins again, gently, whenever you are ready.